This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Okay, Rahul. So we're going to start by playing a game of two truths and a lie. So can you tell me your two truths and your lie?
Okay, in any particular order, so they don't know what the truth is and the lie?
Yeah, and I'll try to
Okay.
guess it.
Okay, so, all right, so I have three things I'm going to tell you. I'm a former firefighter. I'm from California. My overall goal in life when I was younger was to become a professional soccer player.
I'm going to go with the lie being that you are from California.
Nope.
So the lie is that you're a former firefighter?
Yep.
I don't know why I thought that would have been true. I was like, he's going to add a fun fact that's true.
What about you?
Okay, so my fact. I speak more than one language. I am American and I like to watch anime.
I'm going to go American as the lie.
Yeah, that's a lie, actually. How did you know? Am I that obvious?
Just looking at your eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. I'm a Salvadorian, born and raised, so
Very cool.
not American. I just feel like a lot of people think that I'm American, and I'm pretty sure I can like pass as someone from the States a lot of times, so that's why I use that as a lie.
Awesome.
Well, Rahul, welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast. Guys, you know what this is about. We talk about marketing, we talk about business, and we assist you guys with your journeys. And you know me, the host, Daniela, and I'm Penji's partnership coordinator. And we have a great episode for today. And we have a great guest, Rahul Alim. Hi, Rahul. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to drop some golden nuggets for everybody who needs to hear it.
I'm excited to. Is your name pronounced Rahul or Rahul? Because I don't want to keep butchering it.
Both. I respond to both, but the original pronunciation is with the H, Rahul.
Rahul. Okay, got it. Good to know. I will try to continue that. So Rahul, to kind of get us started, get the ball rolling, can you tell us about what you do, custom creatives, just the whole shebang, what we got to know?
Yeah, there's three parts to what I do. I started back in 2004. I was a former advertising salesperson for a publicly traded company named Realtor.com. Started my agency, in fact, in their parking lot and got my first customer like literally the day I walked out. Then that kind of turned me on to online marketing. I have three units of the business. Number one is our marketing agency where we service like small to medium businesses primarily. We have some outliers with some enterprise accounts here and there. That's where we do like whatever web development, funnel building, advertising, SEO to Google ads, et cetera. Then we have our mentorship program, which is kind of on my name, the GSD, that stands for Get Shit Done. That's where we mentor other agencies. And then our third unit is AI, where we developed a voice AI platform that's plug and play. It's voice AI made simple. So we got a little balls in the air. We have three different units and divisions that we manage and work with. So typically there's never a dull moment or a dull day. I think I lost your audio. You're muted.
Oh my gosh, I always mute myself and then forget to unmute. And I start talking and I guests always tell me that. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's really cool. I really like the fact that you have sort of been, I feel like you sort of described a sweet spot between niching down to a specific group of people, but at the same time being able to expand a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of businesses tend to be they're way too hyper focused on one thing or too general where there is not like a direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like the way I recommend brand new people starting as opposed to somebody further along, like brand new people should be really good at absolutely just one thing and be the best at the one thing, no matter what it is, whether it's selling coffee, just sell coffee. Or if, like in my case, the only product that I sold for the first decade, literally decade, was banner ads online. So we didn't do anything else. Were we capable? Absolutely. Did we say yes to it? Absolutely not, because we're so focused to being the specialist in one category that it made us so much more money. Our hiring, our pricing, our delivery services, our whole systems were revolved around one thing. So it made it super easy to understand. The company can operate, it can grow, it can scale. And then we started to expand out as the talent started to expand within our company into other categories of services. And then ultimately we had a bunch of money. And when you have money, you can make bigger mistakes and take bigger risks. And our risks kind of worked to our advantage. Not all of them. We lost a lot, made some bad decisions along the way, which is natural. But then we expanded out to different industries, different offerings, different services. But it also comes with challenges as you start to try to solve a dentist's problems and then you
Yeah.
try to solve a publicly traded company's problems. Can one person have the brain and the wherewithal to understand how to diversify their conversations? That's not always true. So our less sophisticated people stay in the local businesses because those are easier to explain things to. And then when it comes to larger accounts, that's where somebody a little bit more senior has to be able to take the wheel from there.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. I think in general, marketing for B2C businesses, any kind of like product related thing is going to be a little bit easier because you understand it from the point of view of just being a normal consumer.
Mhm.
Um, and like you said, like it's a lot more tangible and digestible to market a local bakery than probably, the B2B software that's going to help with someone's CRM.
Yeah, yeah, and based on avatar, like the target audience, if like the bakery example I'll bring up, like if they don't have the money to be able to pay our minimum rates, then we just don't go after that type of clientele because then we're never going to win because it's always going to be price reduction. If you take it on, you're going to be overworked and underpaid, and then you probably break up within a month or 3 months, and then you'll do it again with the next person. So I'm a big fan of I know your identity, know who you want to help, and go after those people. It's not come one call all because when we get leads, we get all walks of life. Some people are broke, can't even afford to like wake up in the morning, and we're not going to touch that because we're not here, we're not a bar rescue like that television show. We're here to
Yeah.
take businesses that are motivated, they believe in growth, they believe in technology, and they already have those belief systems before meeting us. Because I'm certainly not going to convince anybody to think the way I think. That's not my job. My job is to say, all right, you're open minded to growing the business. Here's what we can do, and we find a path forward. If they don't have the same belief system we have, there's so many fish in the sea that we just throw them back in, catch and release, and then just go to the right audience that we want to attract.
I mean, to be fair, I also feel like the likelihood of your local bakery down the street actually looking for a marketing agency is kind of low unless it grows into something like, like a Krispy Kreme of sorts. I am a lot of these like small local businesses tend to just do their marketing intuitively based on what they want. So it's obviously not a target audience. I feel like you said that cycle is probably going to be happening if they do reach out for that.
Yeah, that's going to be like a lower end price point. So it's like somebody selling canned SaaS services for 199 to 497 a month. Those people will probably be able to afford that, but that's just not our particular clientele. We work with in a different capacity. We just don't. It's too much work. We don't like it. We did that in the past. We just kind of uh, fish upstream, if you will.
I'm sorry, muted again. But I also was curious because I know that you coach other agencies actually with what you do. And I'm curious to like because you talk to other owners and other people who are in this kind of space, what is a common mindset that you think is, happening a lot that you see owners making?
Business owners or agency owners?
I would say both. I think it's different for both of them, obviously, but I
Yeah.
would think, yeah, because you
Agency
feel like,
owners, agency owners overestimate their own capabilities. The newer they are, the more they do, when it should be the exact opposite. Because if you start an agency and you do web design, SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads, and YouTube, you're pretty much a master of none, and you're never going to make it off the line. For the most part, some people that have the tenacity, the drive, the 24/7 mentality that they're going to do whatever it takes, and they have that built in, their effort is so high that they're going to win the race and they'll catch up with efficiency and be better with managing their time. Those people will win, because they're just never going to stop until they figure it out. Now, I'm on the business owner side. They're going to have a lot of skepticism because it's not going to be the first rodeo to talk to somebody like you. Just think of yourself as you sell snake oil, because that's what they're hearing. So how do you now give them confidence that you're not like their past? And that's really kind of how a lot of local businesses make their decision making, because you're no different than the person that screwed me over before this, and your pricing is the same or more. How can I move forward if I don't believe in you, and because I don't believe in the people that took my money because they got rich and I didn't? So that's all you have to really kind of be like conscious and aware of, is that that's what they're feeling right now. So how do you change that mentality without being their therapist? Is like, that's why we do content. That's why we want people to watch the videos that we produce, and we make sure that they do. Otherwise, there's no point of our phone call. If you have a big goal and your company's not going to survive and you need marketing and you need more customers, you have to make a move. Otherwise, your move will be a for sale sign on your own business. So we have to make them comfortable. So it's important that we also become the authority to them before we even met them. So if somebody opted into like our funnel, we need them to watch a 10, 20-minute video, maybe 3 or 4 of them, depending on the offer that they're opting into, so that when we have the conversation, it's not informational, it's highly productive. But most importantly, they're already going to meet and greet us before we even met them. That's very important to all marketing that we do. And it should be to everybody who has any business whatsoever, is get the know, like, and trust off the table. So when you do actually have that introduction, it's really meaningful. It's your moment of truth to close or not close, or help or not help.
for sure. I also wonder how much the agency and just marketing landscape has influenced in changes. Like, because I feel like, in the last few years with technology being moving so fast, I'm imagining that you as an agency owner have to change what you're recommending people all the time, what you're recommending business owners to do, and at the same time, business owners need to adapt to what their business is going to have to do in order to compete in their industry, in their niche, if that makes sense.
Yeah, number one is eliminate shiny object syndrome. They're like, so you don't just start chasing a magic bullet, because that's what object syndrome causes, is that you think something can happen and it really doesn't, because it takes work. This is hard work. This is not a walk in the park. Yeah, you can pay somebody to do it for you, but then you spend your money and you have to put the confidence in that person if you believe in them. The most important thing is adapting, like you mentioned, to the times. Like, AI is here, but then I see business owners like, oh, it's cute. I'm like, nah, it ain't cute. This is going to replace, you will be out of freaking business if you don't do this. If you don't implement AI, have content about if you're a restaurant, you have to have your food on the internet. You have to have your AI automatically send out review requests. You have to have your staff trained on being not salespeople, but champions of the brand, by giving good service, asking them to come back, incentivizing them to come back with a free cake or something, so they become more loyal to the brand. But also get online reviews, get them on an email list so you can blast them out, whether it like Costco does and Amazon does. They're constantly emailing you, and all this technology is all affordable. It's all accessible. It's all
Yeah.
there. But that's the number one driver in sales, is repeat business for these local brands. But yet they don't have as much repeat business, because they're not doing the marketing. They're just saying, all right, well, if you like my food once, you'll just come back forever. That's absolutely not the case. There is no more loyalty. This is not 1990, where people spend 20, 30 years at a job. Right now, the attitude and arrogance of people is different. People have no loyalty to anything at all. They're always looking for a grass is greener on the other side, versus being what's working. So that's our job, is to introduce, explain, and educate. And at the same time, entertain. So they have some sort of value to listen to the videos. So it's not this boring seminar like you might see in a college, like a professor just
Yeah.
talking at you. That's not our job. Our job is to make this engaging, fun, immersive, show them hope, show them also defeat, that if they keep doing it the way they're doing it, then they're going to get a same result or worse. Right? That's our job.
Yeah.
We're changers, not problem. Like, we don't create bigger problems for the client. We solve those problems, and sometimes we have to open them up with really good questions and really good answers from them.
I also feel like we are living in a moment because you said like, people have no loyalties, and I think that that does definitely, like, consumer behavior definitely has changed, and it's going to influence the way that you handle your business. But I think we are also living in a point in time where we have simultaneously never had as much of a catalog, as big as a catalog. I guess I mean, like, I feel like we have so many options, and at the same time we don't. I don't know if you've heard that feeling of when you go to a restaurant and the menu is huge and you can't choose because of how big the menu is.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's kind of like the reality that we're living in. Like, there's so much noise. There's so many people. Everybody's doing marketing, everyone's doing paid ads, everyone's doing organic. And what the real challenge, at least for me, is to see businesses stand out from that and not fall into the same pattern of doing that for everyone. Because then, from the point of view of like whoever it is that's looking to be that client, you want to make sure that they're not being overwhelmed and bored. And then what is that attention going to actually be?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of options. You can do many things when it comes to driving traffic, increasing revenue, decreasing costs. Now, based on the customer, they can do whatever they see. I mean, if they see 30 ads today or 2,000 ads, doesn't matter. They have the choice of which one they want to click on. So as a marketer, we have to captivate the click. So we get the first click, then our landing page has to get the convert. Once the convert happens, then it's our nurture sequence and gets to a person to help them and discover their pains, their problems, what their potential solutions are on their budget. And then also, of course, timeline decision makers and any uncertainties. Once we have all that information gathered, then we can formulate a plan around a budget. But if we're going to play that secret game of tell me what it costs and I'll tell you if I want it, we're not playing that game. We're already too aged for that. We're smarter than that as an agency owner. If you have $1,000 budget, great. Here's what we can do. And here's what the outcome should be. You need 6 months to do it. And after 6 months, you need the rest of your life to implement. And then as you start making money, start putting more money into more marketing. Either we stay in the same channel and expand, or we diversify into an omni-channel presence if it makes sense based on additional marginal budget that we've created through our profit systems. So it's our job to basically like a doctor does their best to identify a problem and give you a solution. If I go to 10 doctors, I'm going to have possibly 10 different perspectives and 10 different solutions. Now, what do I do as a consumer? I cause my own confusion by having analysis paralysis, by not being a leader, not choosing what's in my gut and saying, let me give this cockamamie excuse of overeducating something that I'm not educated on in the first place. Why are you having 10 calls? Just stop being so skeptical about the world, and find what you believe that you can work. And it's not going to be the cheapest price. It might be, but it's not going to be the cheapest price. It's going to be the best solution. If it's the right person and you have a good relationship and rapport, and you feel that they can read your mind before you even open your mouth and anticipate your pains and problems with solutions, then you may have come across the right person. So I would argue to say, don't evict that person, run to that person, get their time, hire that person, because they can actually scale your business better than anybody can. Because a lot of business, you show me a business owner, I'll show you somebody that's going out of business.
Yeah, I agree.
9 out of 10 go out of business. Not my stat, it's the world stat. In America, at least, 9 out of 10 businesses will be ceasing to exist, will be dead in a coffin after 3 years. The reality is they've been dying all along. They just did a slow death because they were embarrassed that don't want to tell their family members. They don't want to tell their lenders. They owe a bunch of money. And then they think longevity is the smart cycle, but it's not really it. Sometimes you should just kill the business earlier, or just hire the right people. That's really the game changer. And I'm a perfect example of that. I hired the worst people possible because I was cheap as shit when I started. And then I hired really good people. And I'm like, God damn, these guys are so expensive. But then what happened was they turned my business around for me. They were passionate about it because they didn't have stress that they were underpaid and they can go pay their bills and still have some left over and enjoy exciting things. But then they just took on 2, 3 people's responsibilities all wrapped into one. So leadership, management, and delegation became so much more simple. So sometimes you just get the right players on the bus, like that book Good to Great says, and then that could be that turnaround plan. And some people don't have the money to pay them. Then get creative, sell them on your vision, give them a piece of the business or give them a piece of the commission.
Yeah, I know. I think like definitely it's if you want long-term success on something, you want to do an investment. If you're not ready to do that investment because of financial reasons, you have to figure out a way to get to that point. Or like you said, find other incentives for that person to want to be with you.
Yeah. And
Um,
one question is just like, if you had all the money in the world to grow this business, what would you do?
yeah, I think that's also like a really great question because I feel like a lot of times I think it's kind of like a pipe dream to be a business owner, and people think that that's like money is going to be the solution. But if you look at famous rich people who have started businesses and they have still failed, I think you can realize like that being rich and having all of the money available to you and being able to like have a starting point where you're going to have a full staff or whatever doesn't mean that you are going to have a successful business.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it's obviously honorable, and I feel for every entrepreneur, like I have massive amounts of admiration, even if it may not sounded that way through this podcast, because I think we have to be wild, we have to be crazy, we have to be tenacious to be in this seat because we eat last. We got to pay everybody first, and then you taking the risk that you have enough money left over to survive, and then you have the vision, the growth, the mentality, the hunger, and the determination, along with the smarts to grow smarter. So the longer you work, you become much more efficient. Then you
Yeah.
become wiser. Then you start plugging in efficient tools. For example, let me go back and reverse to AI. Like before I had to write blogs, I had to write Facebook posts, YouTube descriptions, and all this stuff. Then I paid somebody, a copywriter, as we call it, right? Then the copywriter would write this shit. Then my workload didn't change very much because then I'd have to review it. Then I'd have to edit it. Then we'd have to go back and forth. So I'm like, I'm in no better position time wise. I know that I got the bulk of it done by somebody else that I would have ordinarily skipped over and never had the content, which is appreciative, but then my time is still sucked up. But now I just type in a prompt into ChatGPT. It spits it out faster, better. In fact, it's within 7 to 10 seconds. I can review it real time. I can edit and polish it real time. I can batch create 30, 40 pieces of content all in a matter of an hour without talking to anybody. And it's going to be better than somebody else can possibly do because my AI knows me and learns me and really is starting to become smart as me or better, which is the goal where I'm never going to be able to get that. Or I don't want to say never. I'm not going to be able to get that out of somebody in this remote world that we live in. They'd have to be planted on their ass to my right, listen to me, understand me, interview me, document me, and then they'll be able to read my mind of what I'm doing and thinking because I am an entrepreneur. I am wild. I am fucking crazy. So it's hard for somebody to get a read on me, but AI does it. So why would I talk to a human when I can just talk to AI? I'll use the humans for all more appropriate positions like project management, customer charisma, outreach, etc., and make the customers feel like they're the only person on earth that we care about. And that's extremely important to develop those relationships so the customers stay longer, they're happier, we get to know their business just like our employees know our business, because that's the whole point of it is to help and grow and scale and turn somebody who would ordinarily do 100 grand in a year to do 1 million in a year. That would change their life, change their family, change their happiness. Heck, it might even keep them married longer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I do think that you have to be a very courageous person to want to be a business owner. I don't think that like I personally don't subscribe to the idea that it's just kind of that mindset because I think that it's also got to do with like life and privilege and being in a situation where you can start a business because you obviously can't say that to someone who probably doesn't have money to live on to the next day. But I do think that, like you said, it is important to be able to allocate where
Yeah.
your strengths are, where like, I think that what you touched on, which is AI stuff,
Yeah.
I agree with ChatGPT. speed being a godsend. It's not perfect, and it still kind of like fails sometimes, or it's a little wacky. But I think, like you said, that being able to have an AI do something in a really good way for you, and then you still have that human value in other places where AI is just not going to do it, is a
Yeah.
much better way. And being able to sort of navigate all of that is the true magic. I think it's what's going to lead you towards being more successful than if you're just throwing everything at a wall and seeing what sticks, basically.
Yeah, yeah. The spray and pray model doesn't necessarily isn't the smartest model, but like here, I'm putting it in the chat. But this is something that's like gonna expand and grow and just be a common part of today's world. The people who start sooner are gonna experience the benefits and the profits and the cost savings much faster versus waiting too long. Kind of like back in the days when cell phones first came out, they were very expensive. They were thousands of dollars. They came in a briefcase. The reception wasn't the greatest, so it was the most expensive it's ever been. But it was also the people who adapted first, learned the first, and understand how to do business because the entrepreneurs are kind of always on. But then no longer then, and back then, meetings you actually drove to, believe it or not, right? Some of you guys aren't old enough to know that you have to drive to meet people. You just and FaceTime all the way. But yeah, we would drive from an hour and a half just to meet one person through traffic. And during that drive, you had nothing to do besides sit in your thoughts or listen to the radio. That was it. You had no other options.
Pretty
Um,
amazing. This was so unproductive when like I'll
yeah.
have 5 calls in a day just back
y-
to back,
So now welcome to the first
Yeah.
person who bought a cell phone or the first group. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, it costs dollars per
Yeah.
minute. But guess what? If it was a dollar per minute, I'll say $5 per minute, and I was on the call for 100 minutes. Somebody would be like, I would never pay $500. But what if I told you you'd be closing $100,000 per month client? Instead, you'd just be driving doing nothing. Now, this is that same cycle all over again. And now it's incredibly effective. No one ever needs to answer their phone again if they don't want to, but they still won't miss calls. No one needs to follow up with their lead again because you're not doing it anyways for the most part. Most people will call 3 times at maximum, give up and deem the lead a bad lead when the reality is you don't know that answer. You just guessed it because you gave up. You failed. Now,
Yeah.
sales happen between the 5th and 11th attempt, yet people only call 3 times. Why is that? Because they just don't know anything and they don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have the systems. Now you don't need to. We built Thinker. It's a voice AI platform that can do inbound, outbound, customer service, sales, qualification, role play, screening interviews, and also turning a website from just a boring informational website now into a talking website where it can sell you, book you, service you. It's kind of like that outlet that was in the malls. I don't know if they're still popular or not. I don't really go to malls anymore, but Abercrombie and Fitch. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what did they have outside of Abercrombie and Fitch?
Um, hot model.
There you go. Hot models. So that's exactly right. Exactly. Hot models. So like they had the hot models and then they thrive because they drive the traffic in. Good looking girl, good looking guy, come on in the store, people
Yeah.
buy stuff and get out. Now, what about your website? What if you can add the Abercrombie and Fitch models to the website? Because everybody gets the traffic, whether you know it or not. You're going to have traffic on the website, whether it's you, your friends, your family, your customers, your prospects, but they're leaving. How do you give them that? I call it the Pert Plus experience. That shampoo, the 3-in-1, it's soap, shampoo, and conditioner all in one. But the slogan of Pert Plus back in the days in their commercials was, "You never get a second chance to make a first impression." Now,
Yeah.
if your first impression is your website will talk to you, engage you, impress you, create the brand awareness, and actually book those people that they've never seen something like this so easy and accessible, they finally got the information. Because if there's 2 plumbers, one has a smart website and one has an ordinary website, they're going to pick the smart website every time because it talks, it's impressive. They may even share it with their friends and saying, "Hey, check this out. I've never seen a website talk before." And now they're doing your marketing for you because of excitement. And that's what Thinker, our voice AI brand, has done.
I think what happens is also like you mentioned something really interesting, which is that like you only have very like that one opportunity to do a first impression. I feel like that's true for so many things. Like if you've ever kind of at an HR type of conversation about CVs and stuff, they always tell you to like make sure that your CV is going to stand out within those first 5 seconds because like recruiters are only going to look at it for those 5 seconds, right? So it's like the same kind of concept I feel to having your website, your company. It's like that's your resume. That's what you're presenting to your customer and they're going to take a look for 10 seconds and decide whether or not they want to snoop right? If they want to keep looking and if you can't grab that person's attention within those first I don't want to say seconds, but I just mean like, like that initial attention is going to really be something that's going to influence how that person is going to continue to interact with your content
Hmm.
and your website, your business. I also think there's a lot to say to because I feel like I've seen a lot of business owners, especially with creative stuff, become very kind of ingrained in the artistic part of it and like they'll make like very sort of beautiful, aesthetically pleasing things, but they're empty or they're difficult to understand. They're, like they're a little bit too complicated for that ideal customer. And so I think like being able to build that spot where you are innovative and exciting, but also easy to understand is like probably what everybody should be aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets them through the funnel, each business is different. Pretty is one thing, cool, it looks good, but then you just need to get the conversions. Restaurants that are backed by VC groups will have beautiful websites and it makes an impression, but they also attract a clientele because they're in a prime location, spend money, get their clientele so they'll never go out of business and they have the money to do so. Then for the rest of us, we have to be very efficient on focusing on what problems do we actually solve for our customers and position that on our marketing messages, whether it be a website, in-store, emails, text messages, online reviews, leveraging technology that's in front of everybody's nose, like voice AI, or even ChatGPT, because it's all a matter of if you're going to be negligent to knowing what's around you and available to you and accessible, then that's just a decision. It's a choice to kind of put your head in the sand and not really look at the world as an opportunity that we can grow and scale from a business mindset, because everything's accessible. That person that does social media, if you can't afford it, ChatGPT. If you need review management, you can probably buy a review software that every customer that comes in your door, or no matter what business it is, there's a review message that goes out. So you have an opportunity to get a 5-star. Because what if 80% of people trust online reviews as if it's a personal recommendation from a friend? Why on earth wouldn't we make that a high focal point of our core marketing if you're a brick and mortar local business that relies on local traffic? It'd be stupid not to do it, quite frankly, to just deny the world of reviews because that's the only reason people buy shit. It's literally the reviews. I don't even care. I Google, I'll look at a review of a restaurant. I'll look at a review on Amazon. I'll look at a review. Everywhere's reviews, right?
No, it's true. Like, like Amazon and Temu and all of these are sort of like big e-com things that are coming up. The only reason that I purchased products is because I have seen a review and someone is telling me that it is good.
We just
And
bought light bulbs for the bathroom based off 4.7 thousand reviews, 4.6, as opposed to 131 reviews and a 4.9. So that's how
yeah,
much of, and I don't know who the hell is behind those brands, nor do I give a shit. It's just a
I
matter
like
of,
yeah.
yeah, it's just the reviews. I don't know. I didn't read any reviews. I just saw the number. I'm like, all right, cool. They must, if all these people are buying it, can't be wrong. So if they screw me over, so be it. Buy another one. Right. So that's just the way the world works. It's speed of purchase, speed of information delivery, and good kudos to the people who do get reviews. Because then you're probably not going to have as many problems. You can focus on the next problem. Now you've got your social proof out there that people are talking good things about you. Then move on to another problem. How do you get the same customers to buy again? Focus on a repeat purchase system next, and then find the next problem, et cetera.
Yeah, and I think that's great, and it's a great note to end this podcast
Yeah.
on, Rahul.
Yep.
Before we
Thank you
finish,
for having me.
I want to give you the space because if anything that we spoke about resonated with their audience, if they're looking to work with you, they just want to connect, ask you more questions, the floor is yours to tell them where to go.
Yeah. The easiest way is go to my Facebook group. It's on my name here, joingsd.com/group. There'll be about 13,000 plus marketers that are probably sharing battle scars and also solutions that have worked for them. We're active every single week doing live trainings. Most of them are free. Some of them are for our private members. And then if you're interested in voice AI and leveling up, it's our voice AI platform is Thinker. That's think like THINKRR.ai. You can play with the web widget yourself if you want to. You can just literally talk to our website. On that website, it can tell you anything. You can even ask it if you have it tell you a joke. So it's a pretty cool thing. The world we live in is remarkable.
Awesome. I will be adding the links to the description of this video so that people can easily access them, Rahul. And thank you so much for being here on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Have a good day, everybody. I will see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.